test out that
Okay, I've seen a lot of people
potential
interested
strategy.
in kind of the strategy aspect of Sands of Time, so I thought I could analyze my run and kind of
That's
talk
what makes me
about the sort of
faster.
things that
I
I
feel
do,
like I'm pretty
because
fast
this
at
route
one.
is very intentional. So just to start off,
don't
whenever
feel
I
like
go
missing
around,
out.
I go from left to right because I found that this is just like generally the most successful
And I
route.
spent so much time without mobs.
There is the least risk involved, and also it just
That just
seems
feels
the
like there's
fastest
definitely
and has the
something
best
going on with,
sand
like, a
management.
maximum amount of mobs.
This is because the
area.
netherite chest route actually has the least sand, which means that it's best to leave that for the end so that you actually have enough sand to make it through the whole run.
Maybe in that sense, it could
So
be better
in
to
this case,
spread
there's
out
actually two
first
ways you can go
sometime
off of
at the
this
first
run.
area and then
It's
sometime
important
else.
that you go for
Someone
the
pre-hit that spike.
diamond key first before you go for anything else in this room or the other direction, because you actually go back through that same tunnel, which I'll point out when we get there. So it is actually suboptimal to go for that sand first. Here in this room, I also dedicate some time to killing the skeleton, because skeletons and other range mobs are worth 2 coins, whereas just zombies are worth 1 coin. So zombies aren't really worth it, but ranged mobs are definitely worth it in this case.
Because waiting is so much time waiting for mobs, and it's nice if you just have a guarantee.
You can listen to me yapping in the background. Okay, so actually when you go back up here, so this tunnel is connected to the main room. Obviously you do this little parkour, as you might have seen, doesn't really need more explanation. But a lot of people like to do this route before they go for the diamond key, but then you're wasting a lot of time running back and forth, which is the main thing that we're trying to avoid, because the more time you have left over, the more time you have to kill mobs. In this case, I even ignore the coin pile because I need to go down there anyway when I jump over. So that's like a mini time save. I also take the ladders here because in Bedrock Edition, ladders are a lot faster than in Java. So in this case, that's actually faster than if you go all the way around. Whereas on the way back, which you're about to see, I do believe it's faster to go around just because you're going a slightly different direction, which makes this faster.
Hey, mobs.
It really is just about the micro time
Yeah, it
saves.
almost feels like a lot of mobs are spawning after I've been places. Which makes me think there is definitely some sort of...
Okay, so this area is actually the most difficult I found. I like to go for the gold crate first because then when you fall down, you only have to get back up once you're very much, like, you're completely done with this tunnel. So it actually saves that little bit of time of going up and down stairs, and also means that you're not really overlapping any part of your route.
Not baby zombies.
And as you can see, I'm just ignoring zombies altogether because it's just not worth it. The amount is way too low. I like to do a little parkour here so you spend slightly less time in the water because bedrock water is so bad and so slow. Well, the swimming part of it is.
Let me steal.
Okay, we ignore the kill steal there, so
kinda bad.
a little bit mean.
You gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
Ignoring the zombie again. When you get these 2 sands, doesn't actually matter if it's before or after, because regardless, you're gonna have to go up and down. There is maybe something to be said for swimming in the water, but swimming is so weird and inconsistent. Maybe it would be faster if I knew how to do it,
Yes, I did.
but I don't.
We're good.
So in this room, husks can spawn, and this might have been an oversight on the part of the team, or just intentional, not entirely sure, but husks, unlike zombies, husks give 2 coins instead of 1. It's a bit weird, but that does mean that husks are the fastest way to get those 2 coins, because skeletons and pillagers, which are the other mobs that give 2 coins, are just much slower to kill. So seeing a husk here is really good.
I'll be right with you.
Good RNG.
I know where they went. There. Pillagers have they're just insanely strong. It's not fair.
I like to go for any mob that gives 2 coins, but also like not to waste too much time, because evokers are 3 coins, which are even more valuable. So realistically, those are the mobs that you want to be killing the whole time.
If this was in Java, it'd be amazing. Just like the best thing ever.
and as you can see from how I've routed this, my routes pretty much are never overlapping.
No, leave me alone.
Here, I like to go down for these coins because they're just so out of the way and it's awkward, but this is the best path that I found for them to not cause any overlap. So it's time loss, but it's the least time loss. Yeah, in this route, I know some people like to do what I'm doing right now last. I don't really think it matters, because regardless, you're not going to overlap. But some people like to do it later, because then you can get to the chest plate faster, which is in like a side path here. I think most of the time, you're not really going to die, but doesn't harm anyone.
That'll give me some more success. After this,
also, for the Java players, Bedrock PvP is very weird. So critting, jumping, and critting still does help in killing mobs faster. It's just a bit strange, because spam clicking still also works. So I like to go into this room first, before I even have the key, because this is one of the few rooms that spawns evokers. So it's good to get that first like spawn wave of evokers and skeletons, and then come back later and get another spawn wave in. Oh, and you might have already noticed this, but you can actually punch the sand, so you don't have to go all the way up to it, which is just a neat little time save.
Crazy.
This is a very lucky evoker spawn. Easy kill, and it's just nicely in your path. Baby Zombie, on the other hand, is very unlucky, but thankfully not too much of a time loss. But this run is definitely not perfect yet. And now that is what you like to see. Getting an evoker there, very nice. I'm very lucky that it didn't fall in the lava, because that just completely loses you your credit.
In the lava, not water. Water would have been fine. Lava, not so much.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people don't seem to know this, but you can just go up here and save a lot of time. Yeah, now you know. No. You could actually see the particles there of a mob despawning, which is just so tragic.
No, I gotta go.
But I didn't get a second spawn wave, which meant that I just had to keep going. You can't really wait around, because that just means that you're losing way too much time. I'm really trying to go for like the server best time, which is not best time, best score, which is 25:54, I believe, at the moment. Which I'm about 10 coins off of, which is just like 3 evokers, which means it's so close, but I keep just barely not getting it. You really need a perfect run, and you can't be waiting around for that.
Oh, that was crazy. Bro,
couple nice head hitters, saving that little bit of time. Bedrock water, am I right?
Come on. Give me some good evoker spawns here, please. I have so much time left. Okay, well, this is decent.
Pillagers are not quite as good as evokers, but they're still 2 coins each, so if they're spawning, I'm not saying no. This hallway can also spawn evokers, so if I'm not seeing evokers here, I'm a little bit sad. Imagine those 2 pillagers had been evokers, would have brought me a little bit closer to beating that time.
What the heck are you doing here?
I think we just all agree that baby zombies are the worst.
Despawn. The heck?
And if you saw earlier, there was another despawn, which again, would have been so nice to have those points. Here I like to grab the chest first because I'm waiting for spawns anyways. Just, again, a little time save. That means I don't have to grab the chest later.
I can always go back to the other place. It'll waste some time, but maybe it's worth it. Who knows? Okay,
No more spawns, but again, like I said earlier, in the hallway there can be spawns as well.
There's one back there.
So it can be worth it to run back. I don't know if you just saw that, but an evoker literally just spawned there, which means more coins for me. And now I'm back. Suddenly there's more, because this room just seems to infinitely spawn evokers. It is very risky though, because if you are killing your evokers here, and like you see that zombie falling in, you're not getting any credit for that. So it's very important that you navigate it well and you don't hit your evoker into the, yep, almost like that, into the lava, because that is just 3 coins lost. You don't want that.
Like, getting an evoker is more
2 spawning on top of each other is crazy lucky. And there's another one in that path. A little bit dangerous. Can see a little mouse shake.
Stop running! No! Oh,
And that is
that was the zombie's
3
fault. Don't know
coins
what they're
lost.
doing here.
Very unfortunate. But that is exactly what I mean. You need to be very careful.
Man. Getting in this corner is nice. Because they'll definitely not die at least. Oh, hello.
Another spawn. I'm just staying here until like 35 seconds. That just gives me plenty of time to do the remainder small part of the dungeon.
Where's my evoker? There was one
And
there.
this time is just spent farming mobs.
Yeah, this is way more consistent than that other room. It's just riskier because of like the pit. Yeah, I think I need to go soon. I think it's time.
I have spent a lot of time trying to perfect the exact amount of time I can stay here.
I don't know
In
if
this
I have
run,
time anymore.
I was kind of freaking out because I thought that I wouldn't have enough time, but actually this is kind of the perfect amount of time. So as you saw, I spent about, I stayed until about
I really don't
35
know
seconds
how that compares to
remaining,
the other area.
and that
The other
includes like
area has a lot more
the
skeletons.
actual moment that I'm leaving. And of course, everyone's favorite part of the run, the bedrock Neo. It's a little bit awkward, but I feel like I've gotten it down pretty consistent. But even if this isn't perfectly consistent, I think you can still do really well without doing the Neo first try. I do recommend that you do the Neo because it's a big reward
Because bedrock and
if you want to get to that 2500. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult. But you're fine to take a couple of tries. So for these doors, the perfect pattern is, it's like an L shape where all the doors on the left and only the far door on the
This should
right
at least give me
will have a
24
reward.
sorry,
It's a total of
25
60
coins,
coins and
so I
1
have
cent.
2 more piles of 20 left.
It's a small time
Okay.
save, but when you arrive here, I would recommend that that's when you grab the far door, the one that I'm entering right now,
But
because
it's a lot better.
that way you spend the least amount of time running
need 3
past
more
areas that you've
evokers
already
to
ran
get-
past. Again, like minor time saves. And here I actually have a couple seconds left, so I could have stayed longer in that big room, which probably, if a combination of that and not losing that evoker, could have been
6.
the server record. But unfortunately, that's just not how the run went. But I'm very happy with how it did go, so I hope you learned something.